Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 18 of Trip Tales, where we are going to be talking about one of Disney World's luxury resorts, the Wilderness Lodge. Today I am joined by my guest Laura, who was actually also on episode 3 of Trip Tales when she shared about her Dollywood trip, where her family stayed at the Dreamore Resort. But today we are jumping from Dollywood to Disney World, so welcome back to the podcast, Laura.
Thank you for having me again. I'm so excited to be here.
For those who missed episode 3, let's do another rapid fire get to know you. So tell everyone where you live, about your family, and what you do.
So I live in Southern New Jersey. I teach actually in one of our resort towns in Ocean City, New Jersey. I have 2 boys, a 6-year-old who's just finishing kindergarten and a newly 3-year-old. And the 2 of them and my husband are my travel partners.
I love it. And how's your summer going so far with your kiddos and having your teacher break?
It's going really well. We had a little bit of a break, and now the boys are doing a little camp a couple days a week. And, we're just falling into our new routine.
Good. Yeah, our summer is going well too, but it's just, I keep calling it the summer shuffle because I just feel like it's shuffling people to different places, and then it's drop off and pick up. And do we need sunscreen today or bug spray, or which camp allows peanut butter? Just like trying to figure out all the things every day.
That is so true. That is so true.
That's why I love this podcast so much, because I feel like when things get really crazy, it's fun to escape into one of these episodes and just transport yourself somewhere else and dream about planning another new trip.
It's so true. It's so true. Writing down some notes for this episode, I was like, man, we really need to go back and, you start doing your research and all that. So absolutely.
Yes, I was doing my research too. And I'm like, when could I get there? I'm like looking at the calendar, trying to squeeze something in. Okay, let's talk about Disney World's Wilderness Lodge. Although I've never stayed here, I've recently become a bit obsessed with the Wilderness Lodge because I happened to look up photos of it decorated for Christmas, and it was so beautiful and rustic and Christmassy. For those who are unfamiliar, Disney's Wilderness Lodge falls into the deluxe category of Disney resorts. Disney World splits their resort properties into 3 categories: value, moderate, and deluxe. Value resorts are the most budget friendly. They tend to have smaller, more basic rooms. They have a large, fun themed pool, but typically no water slide. For dining at the value resorts, they usually have a quick service dining option, kind of like a food court style, but not typically the nicer sit down restaurants. And as far as transportation, a lot of the value resorts are primarily served by the Disney buses. But it is a great way to do Disney on a budget. We've stayed at Art of Animation before, and it was great for our family at the time. So you really can't go wrong at Disney. Next are the moderate resorts. Moderate resorts feature rooms that are a little smaller than the deluxe resorts, but still larger than the value. Most rooms can accommodate families with features like a 5th sleeper option. They have a fun pool and often include a water slide. And they usually have a mix of a quick service and a sit-down dining option. And sometimes they have access like a boat or the Skyliner. And then lastly, the deluxe resorts. They offer the highest level of luxury and amenities. They are designed to provide a more immersive and opulent experience with several features, including larger rooms, often some premium views like of the theme park or a lake, extensive amenities, including water slides, elaborate pools, spas, fitness centers, and multiple dining options. Usually a character meal is included at one of these. High quality sit down restaurants, and they have enhanced transportation options like monorail, boats. And they're closer to the theme parks, reducing travel time. They also have club level options and cool bars and lounges. So that's just an overview. All Disney properties are lovely, but we do tend to talk about the deluxe resorts quite a bit on this podcast. So apparently some of us are just a little bit picky about our accommodations. The list of the deluxe resorts, just so people know, are the Grand Floridian, the Polynesian, the Yacht and Beach Club, Boardwalk Inn, Contemporary Resort, Animal Kingdom Lodge, and then, of course, what we're talking about today, the Wilderness Lodge. So let's get into it. When did you and your family stay at the Wilderness Lodge?
So the first time we stayed at Wilderness Lodge was January 2020. My oldest son was 2 and a couple months at the time. And we booked through a Disney planner who gave us a little insight, as we were working through budgeting and all that. We were originally looking at the moderate level resorts to stay within our budget. And she had mentioned Wilderness Lodge as another option because of the deluxe resorts, it does tend to be on the lower end in price. So for a little bit more money, we were able to stay at Wilderness Lodge as opposed to, I think we were looking at Port Orleans or something in the moderate level at that time. So that was January of 2020 was our first stay. We booked a nature view room, which Disney has now changed their categories of rooms. And at that time, that room was, we were able to see the fireworks from that room, which
That's
was
awesome.
really cool. Yeah. Yeah. So that was our first trip to Wilderness Lodge.
So that was right before the pandemic.
Right before the world shut down. Crazy that we got that trip in.
Yes, because I was taking notes and I was like, oh, maybe we'll focus more on the 2023 trip that you went to Wilderness Lodge because I'm sure the 2020 trip was so different, but it was before everything had changed.
Yes.
Okay, good. So then you also went spring break of 2023. Is that right?
Yes. So our spring break is Easter week. We have off Good Friday, Easter weekend, and the whole following week. And we stayed at Wilderness Lodge. And for that trip, we actually stayed in their Disney has a timeshare program called Disney Vacation Club. And in their deluxe resorts, they have villas, they call them, which the rooms are a little bit different than your standard hotel rooms. So during that trip, we booked through David's Vacation Club, which is Disney Vacation Club members who can't use their points for the year, who have booked vacations that they can't go on, are willing to sell you those vacations. So we stayed in a separate part of Wilderness Lodge called Boulder Ridge Villas. It kind of has its own entrance. It has its own quieter pool. And those rooms are unique because they have, they've just recently been renovated. They have a queen bed, and then they have a pull down Murphy bed, which is really nice because when the Murphy bed is up, it's a couch and a sitting area. And they're also equipped with a mini fridge, a microwave, and a toaster and a coffee maker. So you can do some quick meals in your room. It gives you that kind of wiggle room on your vacation at the studio level. And then if you were to rent a 1 or a 2 bedroom, you get a full kitchen, washer and dryer, all those amenities. And in your studio, there's also a fifth sleeper, which is another smaller Murphy bed that drops down from below the TV, just in your dresser, it looks like. And it's small. I mean, I think my 6-year-old is probably the largest kid I would put on it, but it does give you a little extra space in that room.
This is so exciting to hear about because last time we went to Disney World, when we stayed at the Polynesian, I went into a deep dive rabbit hole on DVC points. And I was on this website, David's Vacation Club. And just like Laura was saying, all these people kind of own a timeshare situation at Disney called DVC, Disney Vacation Club. And a lot of times they can't use their points and they have a certain allotted amount of points each year. So they sell them through these websites. And my husband was just like, I don't know, like, is this legit? And I'm like on Reddit and talking to other people. And I'm like, I think it's legit. So I'm
It
so glad to hear
is.
someone else did it. And was it kind of like, were there options to choose from, or did you kind of place a bid in and you had to get matched?
So here's the thing about Disney Vacation Club, because we actually bought into it after staying at Boulder Ridge Villa, and we did a very deep dive, obviously, before buying in. Each Disney Vacation Club member has what they call a home resort. So you buy in at your home resort, and you can book that resort at 11 months out from your travel date. And then you have this is a whole, you could go down such a rabbit hole with DVC, and we could do a whole episode on that. But then at 7 months, you can book at any of the other resorts. There are some restrictions that they've put in place with, people reselling the contracts and stuff. But just a general overview, you can book your home resort at 11 months and any other resort at 7 months. So anyone who was considering booking through David's, I would say, know what you want and book it as early as possible because they do really sell out pretty quickly. So we had decided, I think it was like August. We traveled in April. We booked in August for that Boulder Ridge Villa room. And you'll see on the website, you go on, there's a cost calculator, and people are like, no way, this is too good to be true. Because it is, you're getting like a deluxe resort for a moderate price. when you book through something like that. So we did. You put in a couple different options, and then David's acts as a third party. They reach out to a DVC member that has that as their home resort or has points available, and then they book it for you. And it is totally legit, especially if you're going through a third party like David's. There's also DVC Rental Store is another popular one. There's contracts involved. Everything is totally legit. The one caveat to it is that most of the sites that you use, unless you buy their travel insurance, you're pretty much locked into those dates,
Yeah,
after
there's no
you've
like
booked.
cancellation option at that point.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is so good to know. So we'll put David's Vacation Club website in the show notes if anybody wants to play around on the website and think about, maybe saving a little money by buying through a DVC members points. Okay,
Yes.
on both these trips, the 2020 trip and the 2023 trip, was it your family of 4 that went? Hey guys, I wanted to quickly share about a cool way you can support the show. Travel content creating and podcasting is so fun. But as you travel lovers know, traveling can get expensive. While I may receive trades from time to time, the flights, the behind the scenes hours filming, editing, recording, and sharing are often unseen and unpaid. There is this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was created specifically as a way to support creators like me. Buying Me a Coffee is a quick and simple way to show your support for the Trip Tales podcast. And Lord knows this busy Mama 3 could use a coffee to keep me recording and sharing, and maybe help with the grocery bill as well. I'll also give a special shout out by name to anyone who buys me a coffee in the following week's episode. So if you love Trip Tales, I'll put the link in the show notes, or you can get there by visiting buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves. Thank you for considering supporting the show.
The first trip was just my son. He was newly 2.
Okay.
And then our second trip, we brought my younger son too, who was born at the time. And so my second trip, my kids were 5 and 2.
Okay. And on that second trip is when you did the DVC thing? Or you were
Yes.
already, okay. And then now, after that trip, you're DVC members?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
what's your home resort?
Our home resort is Old Key West, which we've actually never stayed at, but
Funny. That's so
Yeah.
funny. Okay. Good to know. We've got the DVC thing down. Okay. So for this most recent trip, let's just say in 2023, how did you guys get there? Do you fly?
We flew. Yep.
Okay. And the Wilderness Lodge has a Pacific Northwest theme. So tell everyone about arriving to the Wilderness Lodge and the vibe on the outside and in the main lobby.
Oh my gosh, the main lobby is stunning. You walk in and you honestly feel like you're in one of like the national parks. There's a giant fireplace in the corner, and my husband's a little bit of a history nerd, so he's got to read all the little placards and everything around the resort. And the fireplace in the corner there is supposed to replicate the stones of the Grand Canyon, like as they go down. And
So
it's
cool.
just stunning. It's like floor to ceiling. Unfortunately, we've never been there for Christmas, but during Christmas, they put a giant Christmas tree in the middle. It is like the most coveted Disney resort during the Christmas season. And everything is just wood and peaceful and tranquil. Even when you walk out of the lobby, there's like a babbling brook that goes through the lobby, dips into the pool, and continues down to a geyser, which goes off every hour on the hour. That's
So
supposed to
cool.
replicate,
Just like
the
you're at
Yellowstone
Old
geyser.
Faithful.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It's super cool. And like you walk out of the lobby and everywhere else, and it's just so peaceful. It's so beautiful. The other thing to note about Wilderness Lodge is there is a character dining. They do the storybook dining, but other than that, there's really no draw for outside people to visit Wilderness Lodge. So it keeps it much more calm than some of the other deluxe resorts that we've visited or stayed at.
That's a great point. That does
Yeah.
sound so nice. Like I felt like the Polynesian was kind of felt like you were getting away from the whole Disney experience, but a lot of people visit that resort for
Yes.
Ohana and just because the Poly's like this cool different resort that people like to head to. So to know that your resort is a little bit quieter, a little bit calmer, and you really can kind of
Yes.
relax after a crazy Disney day. That's a great point.
Yeah. And so we had stayed this spring break at Boardwalk, and it was like the total opposite. I mean, people leave the International Gateway of Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and they'll walk over to the Boardwalk area, and they have performers at night. And there's a little bit of like I don't even know if you could call it this, a bar scene at Boardwalk. So to see those two trips back to back and the comparison of the two resorts was like night and day. And we loved Boardwalk, but I think for when our kids are a little bit older.
Yeah, I had looked at pictures of Wilderness Lodge and it looks so lodgy and just like you are in
Yes.
one of the main national parks fancy lodges. And I did read that they kind of tried to replicate some stuff like that you feel like you're in one of those lodges, but they didn't want to like copy it. So they kind of took a little bit from a lot of them and just made it look
Yes.
like a glamorous national park lodge.
With the new, so when we had stayed there January of 2020, it was before their update. So it was a little bit dark and a little bit dated. And since then, they've updated it. And now it's so bright and just a little bit more modern feeling. So you really do feel a little bit more luxe there now than, prior.
Awesome. I had seen that they have like these big totem poles that might have like Disney characters on them throughout
Yep.
the
Hmm.
lobby and huge chandeliers that actually are like teepees if you look at them closely. So just a lot of really cute touches. Um,
Yes,
and then are there like pine trees everywhere and nature trails and that kind of stuff throughout the resort?
there are. So you take a boat to get to Magic Kingdom. So you walk down the boat dock and you feel like you're walking through a forest. You don't feel like you're in Central Florida at all. To type
Oh,
in
go
like
ahead.
crickets and nature sounds, I just remembered. And if you look at the concrete, it's all stamped with like little deer prints or paw prints and stuff. It's very cool.
You really feel like you're in nature. That's awesome.
Yes.
Let's talk about the pools really quick. Since this is a deluxe resort, it should have a pretty awesome pool. So tell us about the pools at Wilderness Lodge.
There's two pools at Wilderness Lodge. There's the main pool, which I can't remember the name of it,
I have it
but it
written
does
down.
have
It's Copper Creek Springs
Copper
Pool.
Creek.
Yeah.
Yes, Copper Creek Springs Pool is going to be your main feature pool. That's where they have the cast members doing some entertainment in the afternoon, whether it's trivia or, you know, little duck races. There's a water slide. And next to that pool, there's also a great toddler splash area, um, which is great for the little ones to be able to run around, do little water slides, and all that. And then if you go over to the Boulder Ridge side, there is another feature pool, which we love because it's considered the quiet pool. And the best feature in it is that it's zero entry. So you have some new swimmers. That's a really good place for them to kind of splash around and all that. And another unique feature about that quiet pool is there's some cabanas there that are different than the other deluxe resorts because they're first come, first serve. So if
Oh,
your
that's
family is
so
up early in the
nice.
morning and you have a resort day, you can kind of plant your stuff there. You can order some food from Geyser Point, which is right down at the water there, and bring it back and just kind of spend the whole day there relaxing.
That is a huge perk. I love a cabana, but I'm not really at the point where I want to pay for one yet. Every once in a while, we'll
Exactly.
get one as like a trade if I, you know, reach out to the resort and say I'll post on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I'm like, I don't really want to pay 150 or $200 when our kids are going to be running wild. And,
Right.
it just feels like that unnecessary splurge. But to know that if it's first come, first serve, that you could have a chance at getting it if you're up early,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the pool has always been so quiet there. I mean, we were there for Easter week, which is one of the busiest weeks of travel, and we never had a trouble getting a chair. We never had trouble getting a floaty for my son. Nothing. It was like perfect.
Awesome. Okay, let's talk about dining. So they have some fun and unique dining options. And you mentioned the one popular one, which is the storybook dining with Snow White and some of the
Yes.
dwarfs and the evil queen. So did you guys do this?
No, we've never done that one. My kids are a little bit of picky eaters, so we kind of
It's
stick with,
expensive.
your standard Chef Mickey, all of those. I've heard great things about it, and we really look forward to going there. You can see it from the lobby and it looks beautiful. There's twinkling lights hanging. There's like topiaries on the ceiling and all that. So
So it
it
is
looks really
close by. I
beautiful.
was always, the way it sounds is that it's just like so tucked away. So I was always curious if it's like hard to find or if it's kind of right there.
No, it's very easy to find. It's you check in right in the lobby and then they escort you up one floor to the dining area.
Okay, awesome. In terms of the theme, Artist's Point, which is the name of the restaurant, looks like a national park grand dining room. Um, like you said, with a forest of light up trees that might be twinkling, and the trees are kind of like woven throughout the ceiling. Looks like they're kind of carved right out of the support beams. And the trees have some fun light effects, like throughout as different characters enter, they might change colors. So a lot of people say it's really cute and charming and whimsical. And as for the characters at this one, you'll find Snow White, the Evil Queen, Dopey, and Grumpy, which I just think is so cute. Snow White and the dwarfs meet the guests at their tables, while the Evil Queen kind of like stands in the corner at a staged photo op that you can go visit her and get a picture. But I think she like stays truly in character with this like icy glare the whole time.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of fun and funny. I'm sure some littles wouldn't love that, but I think older kids would get a kick out of that. For the food and drink, they have some fun themed cocktails like the Evil to the Core or the Enchanted Apple, which are some fun on theme cocktails. It's a prefix price with tons of food. But like you said, it's not your typical, Mickey waffles and chicken fingers. I feel like at most Disney restaurants, if you ask for something like that, they typically will bring it. But here they bring out like a big appetizer course, which includes a wild mushroom bisque and what they call wicked shrimp cocktail. And then you get to order off a menu from some hearty choices like prime rib and slow braised pork, salmon. And then they also have some fun on theme desserts like the poison apple. That's just a quick overview. If someone was curious about booking, that is a very hard reservation to get. So that's one of the ones that at your exact, if it's 60 days out, marker that you can book your advanced dining reservations, you want to go straight for that. Or I do
Yes.
love my little app. I always forget what it's called on the website, but I'll put it in the show notes. And
One of those dining apps.
yes, it's like the best. You just put in your credit card. It feels a little sketchy, but the second someone drops it, they book it for you. It's just kind of like this, third party, like you were saying about David's Vacation Club. And I got everything we wanted. So
Yes.
I always forget what it's called, but I'm going to put it in the show notes. And I promise you, if you want a specific dining reservation like this one, just do it and you will get it before your trip.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like right before your trip because people start dropping stuff as they get closer to their trip and
Yeah.
get a little organized, but it works.
That's what I was going to mention too, is if you're flexible and you're having a resort day and you wanted to get in there and you didn't have a chance, keep looking the day of. I mean, in Disney, I feel like people get so wrapped up in what they're doing at the parks and stuff that a lot of times those reservations get dropped the day of, sometimes 24 hours before. So if you have the flexibility in your schedule and it's something you really wanted to do, just keep checking that app, refresh, check every hour or so. I can almost guarantee you will get it.
Yes, I just looked it up because I just have to know it. It's addmoremagic.com and it works best if you do it on a computer or like Safari app on your phone. I don't think they have an app. It's actually like a website, but it works great. Okay, the resort's also known for Whispering Canyon Cafe, which offers these all you care to enjoy huge skillets of food at
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Did y'all eat here?
We did eat there. We did not do the kitschy like ketchup thing.
Oh,
You know
what's the
about the ketchup?
ketchup thing? No, I don't.
They do all the cast members are kind of in character there as well. So if you ask for ketchup, they bring you like every bottle of ketchup in the restaurant. And it's just like one of those like fun, the
Oh,
cast members kind of,
funny.
yeah, are just very funny and playful during your meal.
Okay. Those restaurants, like sometimes I remember as a kid, they would like stress me out because, the ones where they're like supposed to be kind of mean to you. I'd always be like,
Yes.
please stop
Yeah,
being mean to me.
I know.
Okay. What meal
Yes.
did you eat here? Did you eat?
We had
Yeah.
some dinner there one night. I think we had a breakfast there one morning. We did like the egg skillets or whatever they were.
Yeah, it sounds fun. It says that they bring out these like huge skillets are filled with all different things like cheddar biscuits and sausage gravy, scrambled eggs,
Yes.
bacon, Mickey waffles, and for lunch like a big carnivore skillet with barbecue and ribs and chicken and potatoes and corn on the cob. So I just think that's like so fun and hearty for them to bring out this huge skillet and everybody just kind of chooses from it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it looks like they have a few other fun restaurants like the Roaring Fork Food Court, which is just one of those quick service, and then Geyser Point Bar and Grill looks kind of cool. Is that one kind of outside?
The Geyser Point is on the grill, is on the water. It's on Seven Seas Lagoon. And the interesting thing about Geyser Point is it's first come, first serve. So you're not going to be able to make reservations on your My Disney Experience app for that one at 60 days. But what you can do is when you get close enough to the restaurant, if there's a wait, you can join the wait list on your My Disney Experience app, and they'll put you on a wait list and they'll send you a text message as soon as your table is ready. And recently, the difference between our 2020 trip and our 2023 trip is they now pipe the music in for Happily Ever After, the fireworks show, into Geyser Point. So
Awesome.
if you're there during the fireworks, you'll be able to see some of them are blocked by trees and stuff, but the music is piped in along with the fireworks show, which is a new addition to Wilderness Lodge, just in the last few years since we were there.
That's perfect. I love when resorts do that because with you have all the best intentions to get back to the park so many nights, but when you have little kids, sometimes you're just like, it's not happening.
Yes.
So let's just enjoy
No.
it from the resort and call
Yeah.
it a day. We still saw fireworks, and then, like you said, you can still hear the music, which is really fun.
Yeah. You can hear the music. You can get one of their margarita flights, enjoy yourself, and just kind of
Yes.
relax.
Yeah, we did that many a nights at the Polynesian. It was like, we're not making it back over there.
No.
And then it looked like at the resort, they have some other fun, cute activities like campfires and s'mores, maybe, or fishing and arcade. Did you guys do any of that stuff?
Yeah, of course we did the s'mores every night. The s'mores since 2020 to 2023 have changed a little bit. They used to be like full on s'mores in 2020. Now I think they give you a couple marshmallows to roast and you can, buy the s'mores package separately. We usually just roast the marshmallows.
But the
We're eating
marshmallows are
Mickey.
included if you're just going to
Yeah.
hop over there and eat a
Hmm.
marshmallow. Okay.
Yep. Yep. So there's s'mores every night. They do a movie under the stars every night. It changes each night. When you go to the resort, you'll see a whole resort activity schedule there. They do some Mickey tie dye. Each resort kind of has a unique craft that they do. The Boardwalk, it was like friendship bracelets. I think Wilderness Lodge, they do this like painting course, which seems like it might be a little bit for the older crowd, but that's their kind of signature thing. At least it has been in the last year. It may have changed now. Yeah, I think that's it. Each day at the pool, they do fun little activities, whether it's trivia, pool races, whatever it may be.
That's what I do love about the deluxe resorts is they're really good about that like all day entertainment, the craft. They all have a movie under the stars at night, which is so fun for the kids just to kind of cuddle up and the parents can get
Yes.
a snack or a drink and the kids can have a little snack and it's just like a nice way to end the day, especially like we were talking
Yeah.
about if you don't feel like going back over to the park, you still have a little entertainment right there.
Yeah. And the one other food option that I had written down was Territory Lounge,
Oh, I don't know that
which
one.
is
What's that?
so this is just most deluxe resorts have a little lounge that opens like at 4 p.m. So basically a bar. It does have some snacks and stuff in it, like some appetizer plates and that sort of thing. And the thing I love about Disney is you can bring your kids in there. I mean, if you and your husband want to grab a drink or whatever, your kids can go with you. It's a Disney resort. It's great. So you can go over there, grab a nice little, they have some signature cocktails also. Do that, grab yourself an app. Your kids can hang out for a couple minutes. You could even take it into the lobby, which is beautiful. And they have always have a little kids movie set up in the lobby, just kind of constantly running. They're usually silly, like Mickey cartoons or whatever.
Fun. Love that.
Yeah.
And so in terms of location, Wilderness Lodge is closest to Magic Kingdom, and you can take a boat over to Magic Kingdom. So did y'all find that the easiest way to get to Magic Kingdom, or did you make your way a different way?
We do. We love the boat. And the reason we love the boat is because we're a double stroller family still. So most of the time, depending on the size of the boat, you do not have to fold your double stroller, which
Love
is a
that.
game changer. Yes.
Yes.
When you're getting on those buses and you're taking everything out of the stroller and trying to fold it
And you've
up.
got it perfectly packed because you've got everything
Yes.
underneath and the popcorn bucket hanging on it. So to have to
Yes.
fold it up is so painful.
Yes. Yes. We're going to be out of that double stroller phase for at some point. But right now, when you're in it and you're not having to fold it up, it is such a game changer. Usually during the busy times, they'll run the larger boats where you don't have to fold it up. In the off chance that it's really packed, you will, but it is awesome. The boat also runs to the Contemporary at a certain point in the day. So we've taken the boat over to the Contemporary for Chef Mickey's, their dining options if we wanted something new. Um, and we've also taken it over there to watch the fireworks from their viewing deck on their fourth floor where Chef Mickey's is and all that, which was a fun little, doing something but not going too far for it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love the boats at Disney because it just Even though you're just on that little lagoon in the middle, it still feels so nice to get out on the water and have some breeze blowing. And it's a nice
Yeah,
way instead of like piling into a bus.
yes. And I will say, I mean, we've never stayed, I can't really compare, but the deluxe resort buses, I don't know if there's more of them, if there's less people at the deluxe resorts. The difference usually is they make one stop. So there's one bus stop at Wilderness Lodge right out front. And that's where you'll catch the bus if you want to take it to Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, Disney Springs. All of those are right there. The difference is some of the moderates and values have the in resort buses that kind of have to make a couple different stops because it's such a widespread area.
So those are taking
Deluxe, you're
longer because they're stopping,
right,
stopping, going out of their way,
right.
whereas Deluxe is just going straight there.
Yeah, Deluxe, they're picking you up and they're dropping you off. We are also like a rope drop family, so we are out at that bus stop and we have never not gotten on, like we've never had to wait for a second bus to come around. We've always gotten on, had plenty of room, all that. So it's really nice.
I love that you're a rope drop family. I want to be a rope drop family. And once I did it with my daughter when it was just the two of us down there for a dance competition. But it's kind of a lot of work. Like you've got to get everyone up, get everyone in their outfits, like get some food in them. So do you guys
It's
just like
yeah,
set your alarms and just go extra early?
we have like a whole system. I mean, we're pros at this point.
What's your
So we
system? Tell us some
oh my
tips.
gosh. So we wake up, we do our lightning lanes or whatever, and that's all
Which just
changing now
changed. Did you see?
also. I
Yes, I
know.
know. I just saw that, which I actually love because I don't love waiting up until midnight and then getting up at 7 as the planner trying to
No.
do all the things. But I do feel like just like everything, it's like, well, you're just going to pay more to do this and that,
Yeah,
but
I
maybe you'll get some
know.
more sleep. I don't know. But yeah, for everyone listening, people who are like not Disney people are like, seriously, because it changes every few years. But the whole like Genie Plus thing and all that is now changing again. You can look it up online. You can look at any Disney Instagram account. They're all talking about it. But anyhow, what are
Yes.
your tips for how it used to be?
So I mean, we have little ones, so they're up early anyway. Doesn't matter how late they've been out the night before, 6 a.m. rolls around, they are up. So your quick service, your Roaring Fork usually opens at 7. So we will usually place our mobile order, get everybody dressed and ready, go downstairs, pick it up. We'll usually eat on the way over to the park or, while we're standing in line for rope drop. It works for us. I don't know. Some
I
people are
love
probably like,
it.
this is not a vacation, lady.
But hey, if your kids are already up, you might as well get
Yes.
on some of those popular rides with them first, and then you can
Yes.
crash later in the day.
And that's exactly what we do. We do it all in the first couple hours in the morning. We usually take lunch break and then we kind of regroup and decide, are we going to go back? Are we going to, stay in the park? And that's the great thing about being right at Wilderness Lodge, especially for Magic Kingdom. Just walk down, take the boat back, and you're back in your room in all of like 10, 12 minutes.
So with your kiddos' ages, what are your like can't misses at Magic Kingdom over the last couple trips?
We have gotten really into like Toy Story. So the good thing about my kids is they don't love the super popular rides yet. They're really impressed with like the easy ones so Disney has always been kind of easy for us. They love like the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin. They love even just going over to like some of the overlooked ones, like that Tom Sawyer Island where you kind of just like climb and look around and like the Swiss Family Tree House. They could be on there for like a half hour while they're waiting for their next lightning lane.
That's
They love the
great.
tea. Yeah, they love the teacups. They're pretty easy breezy.
Is there a direction you always head at Magic Kingdom for rope drop where you just feel like that's the best place to go, or is each day a little different?
Each day is a little different. We've tried to get on like Winnie the Pooh is usually a popular one. Peter Pan, we try to get on.
Peter Pan
This
is
time
so
we were like,
popular and I mean, I think it's so cute, but the last time we were there, I was like very organized. I had all the apps, Standby Skipper, like I was doing all the things and
yeah,
we could not get on Peter Pan. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like
it's crazy, right?
yeah, we didn't get on it this last trip." I was like, "Okay, Peter Pan, geez."
I know. I know. I don't know. Yeah, so we just kind of go with whatever. Last time we were there, we went to Tomorrowland first instead, so we could do like the Astro Orbiter and
That's high up.
yes. Yes, it was. We got up there
Makes
and I
me a
was like,
little
oh,
nervous.
yes.
Okay, and do you guys typically hit all the parks when you go, or are there some that you skip?
We are also a little bit of a laid back Disney family, so we usually do like park day, resort day, park day, resort day. We've never done Animal Kingdom. We're very spoiled and we have a really great zoo, free zoo near us, which I know Animal Kingdom fans are like, it's more than a zoo, but we just haven't gotten there yet. The boys are also aren't big enough yet for, the Expedition Everest or anything like that. So
I would say
we
if we
do,
were going to skip a park when we go, it would be Animal Kingdom. And it does have some charming things, but like my kids loved Everest. And I will say that Pandora Land is
yeah,
very cool. And that is just something you're kind of like staring up at it. Like, how did they even make this? Because it's just huge. And there's these massive, structures and trees and waterfalls. And those two rides are really cool. There's one that's slower that your boys would like, where it's like the Navi River ride, and that's just kind
yes.
of like a slow, sweet. It's still dark, but my 6-year-old loved it. And then the Flight of Passage is so cool. That's one of those ones. It's almost like Soarin', but much more intense, where you've got the big screen in front of you and you're like riding on the bike or the Banshee or whatever they call it. And I loved that one. It's a little intimidating because you get on the bike thing and you're like leaning forward, and this back like support comes in
Oh,
and kind of squishes your back until it feels comfortable to stop. So my kids were like, "What is why are we like stuck
yeah.
in this ride?" They started
Oh
freaking
God.
out and feeling like I can't get out of here. And I was like, "Calm down." They ended up loving it, but that's just like fair warning. Like it's an intense ride. Um,
Yeah.
but for some reason, Animal Kingdom always just feels so hot to me because it is like there aren't as many inside structures. A lot of it is like the outside, zoo
Yeah.
feel. And so if it's a hot day, you are just like stuck outside in the heat.
Yeah.
So I do think there are some good things about it, but we would skip it. Although we do want to try staying at the Animal Kingdom Lodge at some point in those rooms that overlook the giraffes. I'm like, I want to stay
That's
there, but you're
so
just so
great.
far away from everything.
I know, I know. So we've never done Animal Kingdom, but we do the other three. We do Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios. We usually just like do one day at each. We don't park hop or anything like that. And that's usually our trip, like 3 park days and then some resort days. We've had trips where we went out to Kennedy Space Center for a day. That was really cool. The boys loved that. And just kind of hanging out and being like in the Disney bubble, they say, right?
Yes. We're the same in that we do one park a day. And I feel like for people that aren't big Disney people, this is like a good tip. If you're feeling overwhelmed with planning, it's really nice for me just to organize it. And it's a little cheaper to do one park a day. If you buy the park hopper where you can go anywhere, it's more expensive and it's just kind of like harder to plan your trip. Or then you're like, well, what if we get this lightning lane over there? And just bouncing around too much. And it takes time to get from one park to another. So for us, it just is still very easy to say, one day's Epcot, off day.
Yep.
One day is Magic Kingdom,
Same.
off day. One day's Hollywood Studios. So I would highly recommend doing that just to kind of organize yourself and your brain, and your family knows what direction you're going that day. And then if you want to stay for that park's show, you could go back in because you can go in and out of the park all day if you want
Right.
to. Do your kids
Yeah.
love Toy Story Land over in Hollywood Studios?
Love. They love Toy Story Land. Yes. Toy Story Mania is like their favorite. My son loves the alien swirling saucers. I'm like, okay, we can go on that like 10 times. He would never get sick of it.
It's so cute though. I was very impressed. That was our most recent Disney trip. It was my first time to go to that Toy Story Land. And it again, you could just look around and see. Sometimes I just love taking in how much creativity went into creating these places, and like the detail of the games and the blocks. And oh my gosh, when those green toy soldiers started marching past us, I was like, I can't handle it. This is too cute. They look exactly
Yes.
like toy soldiers. They're drumming. They looked hot as heck, I have to say, because it was a
Yeah.
hot day and I was like, oh my gosh. But it was so cool.
Yeah. It is just all the theming. That's the same way I feel about Star Wars Land. We're not Star Wars people, but you go in there and you are just like, it's breathtaking. You're like, how? I feel like I'm in another world.
Yes, and the characters like don't, or the cast members don't break character. We were buying like a Coke from someone and they're talking to you like in Star Wars language, and you're a little
Yeah.
like they'll say something about like the money you're paying with or whatever, and it's just so cute because the kids are like, "Oh my gosh, are we in Star Wars land? Like, do they speak a different language here?" And I'm like, "I
Yeah.
think they do."
Yeah. I know. It's awesome.
I feel like there are people that are just so anti-Disney, and I'm like, you don't have to be all in and be like Disney obsessed. it is the thing I like about Disney is that they just take care of so many things and the service is top notch. And, you can go to other amusement parks all over and it's fine and it's fun, but it feels like an amusement park and it feels like park food. Whereas Disney just like takes it that extra step, like the magic and like characters or cast members not breaking character and everything about it just feels special.
We tell this to our friends all the time who are on the fence about traveling there. We tell them all the time, like, do one small trip. Just kind of like dip your feet in because you're gonna mess it up the first time, kind of. You know, you kind of have to see like what you're into. But everything about traveling to Orlando in general is so easy. You can get off the plane, you can get an Uber that has car seats, you can get transportation to your resort where you don't need a car seat. Once you get to the resort, I mean, everything is there for you. You can Instacart anything you need. Since the pandemic, they've created a Facebook group called Ears for Each Other, where former cast members kind of do all these different services. So they'll come to your room and, decorate your child's hair like the Bippity Boppity Boutique would. There's chefs that will like meal prep your dietary restrictions and have them delivered to your resort. It is just such an easy experience. Like when people are like, oh, Disney is so overwhelming. It is, but everything that you could possibly need and want, you're able to easily get, especially in the kid-friendly world. We've had strollers delivered right to our resort.
Oh yeah, we do
and
that
then
too.
and then picked up. Yeah.
Kingdom strollers or whatever it's called.
Yep. Yes. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just so easy. So if you're like on the fence about doing Disney, I say like pick a nice resort, stay at it, go to Magic Kingdom for a day, get your Disney experience, do a character meal outside of the park, and just kind of like get your feet wet before you like go all in getting like 4-day park hoppers and doing a park every single day.
Yes.
It's like
that's always going to be overwhelming, even if you're an
yeah.
expert.
Yes.
And for me, it was like, your kids are a little younger, but now that mine are a little bit older, I just talked to each kid and even my husband. And I was like, what are two things that you want to do so badly at Disney? And I was kind of surprised by some of the answers. Like my son really wanted to see Star Wars Land. My oldest daughter was like, I really want to eat some of the cool foods and treats. Like I want to try a candy apple from the confectionery on Main Street. And so I wrote down everybody's priorities. My husband's was like, I want to sip a cocktail on the beach at the Polynesian and watch the fireworks show, which is like funny that he even had a preference. But when I actually asked them, I was like, okay, it helped me plan the days better and be like, we don't have to get on every single ride at Magic Kingdom. She wants a candy apple. And it's like their vacation
Right.
too. So for me, that really helped narrow down my focus and not feel so overwhelmed. Like you don't have to get on every ride. Make sure
No.
each kid gets on one or two things they really like. And then the rest of the day will take care of itself. But that really helped me just kind of like narrowing in on what everybody actually wanted to do. And that's where I'm
Yeah.
starting to be a little bit more like, it is very fun to surprise your kids like day of and be like, we're going, which I'm all for that too, for people that like to do it. But I'm starting to learn that I like to let them know a couple months in advance. And now again, that they're older, they like know how to look up the POVs of rides on YouTube and they actually have their
Yes.
own little plan too. And I'm like, this is fun that they know what they want to do and what they're getting into as well.
Oh, absolutely. That's our little Saturday thing. My 6-year-old and I will go on YouTube and like research different places we want to travel to, look at the resorts that are there. It is amazing. Like, people just like you who are doing podcasts and sharing their experiences on trips have changed our planning of our family trips tremendously. I mean, there are so many resources out there to see what's going to fit your family and your needs and wants. And you're going to come up with a million ideas from all those people who have already experienced it.
Yes, that's another tip I'll say is that when this kind of one of the reasons I actually started this Trip Tales podcast, but when I was planning our most recent Disney trip, I'm always driving. Sometimes I'm like taking walks and folding laundry. Like I'm always just doing something. And so listening to a podcast is a really good way for me to like absorb information and wrap my brain around something. I also do all the, Google searches and the YouTube and all that, but listening is something that I really enjoy doing. And so we were thinking we wanted to stay at the Polynesian. So I would just search Disney Polynesian in the podcast app.
Yes.
And then and I'd look for like a more recent episode because things do change. And I would just listen to one while I was folding laundry. And that really helped me wrap my brain around what I wanted to do, how to organize the trip. So I highly recommend just searching your resort or the park that you want to visit in the podcast app, and you'll quickly be able to wrap your head around a trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm also going to put that, what was it called? Ears for something Facebook group?
Oh, Ears for Each Other, it's called.
Ears
And
for
they're
each
all,
other.
yep, they're all former cast members who are just offering like all different services you could think of. Some of them are doing transportation, former chefs are kind of meal prepping for people, grocery shopping for you. Um,
I'll
there's
put
a
that
lot
in
of
the
like,
show notes so that people can access it or check it out if they want to, because they're probably in this group. But I also saw when I was planning my last trip, we were trying to do Bippity Boppity Boutique, which we did end up getting, and it was magical and fun for my daughter. And I highly recommend that experience. Again, that Add More Magic is how we got our reservation, that website. But there are all these former cast members that will come to your hotel room and basically do the transformation there before your day starts. And sometimes it's a little bit cheaper. They'll do their hair and makeup. You can bring your own dress, and then you can have that kind of fun experience. And some young kids wouldn't even know the difference. And then they get to be a princess for the day, and they've come to your room, and you don't even have to do the whole Bippity Boppity Boutique thing.
yeah, yeah. And there's your like off park day too. You've done something Disney, or maybe you're going to the park later, or you're just going to have like a dinner somewhere. It's perfect.
Yes. Okay. Is there anything we haven't covered about Wilderness Lodge yet that you wanted to share?
So some of the other things you can do there, the electric light parade comes past Wilderness Lodge after the fireworks are finished. And the electric light parade is like straight from the 80s. And I don't think it's changed since, but it's just some like light up figurines that drive across the Seven Seas Lagoon. You hear the fireworks from there. I think I mentioned that. Oh, and the other thing that you can do if you wanted to, if you had a resort day, the bus will take you to Fort Wilderness Campground, where you can visit the Circle D Ranch, see the horses, or if you want to go at night, you can do the Chippendale campfire sing along, which is like a kicked up version of the campfire. That's another option if you're staying there.
Okay,
And
wait,
like I
tell us
mentioned,
about the campground area because I feel like I don't know a ton about this. So, can you pull up an RV to this area?
yes. So Fort Wilderness sometimes gets confused with Wilderness Lodge, but Fort Wilderness is a campground. You can drive your own RV. You could tent camp there if you really want. Um, they also just redid all their cabins there, and the cabins are nice because they are, I think they sleep six, and they have a full kitchen. I think they have a little grill out front, just like you would see at any camping resort. And they also have a little, that's where they keep the horses that Disney uses. So you can go to Circle D Ranch, visit the horses. They might do pony rides. Don't quote me on that. And then they also have Chippendale's Campfire Sing Along, where Chippendale come out. I think it's 3 nights a week. I'm not sure the exact schedule, and they sing some Disney songs together, and it's just like a bigger campfire with
Cute.
s'mores and that sort of stuff. And there's a bus that goes from Wilderness to Fort Wilderness every now and then. I mean, it doesn't run very regularly, but
And are they kind of in the same? I mean, I know it's probably not walkable if you have to take a bus, but are they kind of in the same vicinity, like close-ish to
yeah,
each
they
other?
are. They're right across Seven Seas Lagoon from each other. So when you're standing at Geyser Point, if you look straight ahead, you'll be able to see the boat dock for Fort Wilderness, which also has a boat that goes to Magic Kingdom. Sometimes, like on off times, maybe like in the middle of the day, if you're riding the boat, it may stop at Fort Wilderness before going to Magic Kingdom, or vice versa. On your way back, it may stop at Fort Wilderness before Wilderness Lodge.
Okay, got it. I feel like we also have to touch on Wilderness Lodge at Christmas. We mentioned it before, but you just Google some of the images, and it is Wilderness Lodge has like these very tall ceilings. It's like really kind of cavernous, I guess you could say. And so the Christmas tree goes all the way up like super high, and I just think it's so pretty. I was even looking at some pictures of some of the restaurants last night while I was doing my research, and at Christmas they're all just like decked out because it's perfect for Wilderness Lodge, right? Like all the evergreen and greenery and garland, and I'm just like, how do I get there at Christmas time? So I think they
I
decorate
know.
the first week of November maybe, and so I'm like, even if I could just get there for a night, although I was looking last night because we're going to be in Orlando in November for a dance competition, and all the like basic rooms are already booked up, and like when we'll be down there, just because I'm sure it is one of the most popular resorts to stay at during November and December.
Yeah, if it's the first week in November, it's what they call Jersey Week. So New Jersey teachers have a teachers convention, and it usually lines up with
Oh,
their with Disney's Food and Wine Festival. I think there's a race one of the weekends and then Veterans Day. So like that first week in November is always so hard to get into.
Okay, wait, what is it? Do you guys have the week off?
Some schools do the whole week. The convention itself is the Thursday and Friday. I think it's the 9th and the 10th this year. And
So the
some schools
teachers
will
go
do
to a convention, some sort of training and all that, but school's
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, and schools are closed. So most schools will do like a fall break, I guess you'd consider it, and have like the whole week off or extra days built in. And then Monday is Veterans Day, so a lot of people are out of school. And Disney has a big race. I think like the Wine and Dine Marathon or something is that weekend.
So it's just a really hard time to get a room.
Yeah, yeah.
So I end every episode with, if someone out there is considering this trip, what is it about the Wilderness Lodge at Disney World that would make you say, just book it?
It's peaceful. I mean, after you have been in sensory overload of all your Disney parks all day long, you want somewhere that's kind of a respite from all that. And that is Wilderness Lodge to a T. I've stayed at Yacht Club, I've stayed at Boardwalk, I've stayed at Wilderness Lodge, we've stayed at the Swan Dolphin. Wilderness Lodge has been the only place that we have truly found that respite from the Disney bubble. You really feel immersed in that Pacific Northwest, calm, serene. The pools are nice and easy. And that's really what we look for in a vacation.
I have it on my list to try this resort at some point. Do you have your next Disney trip booked?
We do. So teachers convention, we're heading to the Polynesian.
Oh,
and
yay!
Yeah, I'm excited for that. And we are going to do Mickey's Christmas party, the Very Merry Christmas party for the first time.
Oh my gosh, so fun. I'm so jealous.
Yes.
That's awesome. You haven't stayed at the Polynesian yet?
No, we have not stayed at the Polynesian yet.
Have you even gone over there before?
We visited, we've eaten at Ohana before. And
Okay.
when we stayed at Wilderness, we've, taken the boat over to the monorail and rode over to the Polynesian, done all that. And so we're really excited to stay there.
Oh my gosh, you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it. I'm so excited for you.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for being on Trip Tales again for the second time. And who knows, maybe I'm just going to have to book you again for the third time soon.
Yes, we're hoping to travel up to Maine at the end of the summer and do like the Acadia and that whole thing. So
that sounds awesome.
We'll see. Yeah, it's a lot of planning. So
yes, I know. It's fun to plan, but it also can be overwhelming. I'm currently planning. I got to this point where I was like, now that I'm hearing all this stuff, I want to plan so many trips. So I started the spreadsheet that's just like trips we could go on, spring break or fall break. And I'm just going to kind of price them out so that
such a good idea.
Yeah. When the trip time comes, I'm like, hey, this one I've already kind of figured out.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea.
Well, have a good rest of your summer, Laura, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales.